Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. And if you're a regular listener thinking, hang on a second, Wassy sounds a little bit weird today. Yeah, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I've not been terribly well for the past week and a half, but over the weekend it seems to have mutated in not a particularly fun way. I feel terrible, I don't sound quite like normal, but I'm still very excited about some of the things we need to talk about today. So we're going to be talking about them. We've got a really rather exciting new Pokemon V to talk about. And we've got a very weird product, which has been confirmed for Latin America, which I'm going to be honest is not actually brilliant news. So let's start off on a positive note, talking about Entei V. And this is nice, right? Because we had Suicune V. Suicune V is not a new Pokemon. We had Suicune V a little while ago, which is nice, of course, because Suicune never got an EX, and that still makes me sad to this day. But we got Suicune V. It came around in Evolving Skies. It's a very good card, and not for nothing, but when paired with Ludicolo, is currently one of the very best decks in the game. Life is good. And then the other day, I showed you Raikou. And then very shortly after, I showed you a better image of Raikou, and we had a translation. And it turns out that Raikou is Suicune. Now, it's got 10 less HP, but weirdly, the one thing we can tell from this horrible, horrible image we saw initially is that it has a retreat cost of 1. We can't see it on the better image, but on that terrible image, you can make out the retreat cost. Almost nothing else, but you can make out that retreat cost. So you had a slightly lower retreat cost, slightly lower HP, and to be fair, the low retreat cost is awesome, because that ability that draws a card if you're in the active spot, which is brilliant. And other than that, it was basically the same. But my conclusion was that actually you don't have the energy acceleration. Between Melanie, Frostmoth, and Frostlass, we are tripping acceleration for water decks at the moment. And frankly, we don't have that for lightning decks, and that meant that Suicune was still a little bit better overall. Well, now we've got Entei, and Entei is again coming in those 100 start decks over in Japan. And if I might be so bold as to suggest, it's exactly the same, and that's a brilliant, brilliant thing. And look, it's not actually exactly the same. There are a couple of minor differences, just like there were for Raikou, and that is that we got different HP, we've gone up to 230, which is nice, and different retreat costs, we've gone up to 3, which is bad. So Entei has 230 and a retreat cost of 3, Suicune has 210 and a retreat cost of 2, and Raikou has 200 and a retreat cost of 1. And the high retreat cost really sucks here, especially in a world where Air Balloon is a thing, and Air Balloon reduces your retreat cost by 2. This is the only one of the 3 that doesn't get free retreat with Air Balloon. And make no mistake about it, that is actually a really, really bad thing. We want free retreat with Air Balloon. That makes a gigantic difference. But we've still got that amazing attack, which does 20 damage for each bench Pokemon, yours and your opponent's, plus 20 base. And with a full bench for both players, that's 220. And we've still got that amazing ability whereby if it's in the active spot, you can draw a card. No, it's not a phenomenal draw engine, but it's still a draw engine. It totally counts. It's totally good. And honestly, I love the idea of a legendary beast deck. For anyone that's wondering, I know some people call them legendary dogs. Every so often somebody decides they are legendary cats. Canonically, officially, they are the legendary beasts. That is what they are actually known as. Call them what you will. Makes no odds to me. But if anybody's wondering the actual official name, they are legendary beasts. So, why should we care about Entei? Is it as good as Suicune? And the answer to that question is probably no. Because Suicune has still got that energy acceleration. And that makes a gigantic difference. And I don't think Entei is as good. Yes, there was a time where we had Welder, and Welder was amazing energy acceleration. But we don't have Welder right now. And Welder is what we really want to have. And look, there's all kinds of stuff you can use. Turbo Patch remains an option. But my point here is that actually, this is not ideal. The energy, it's only a 2 energy attack, but you still need to get the second energy on there. And Suicune's got multiple ways to do that are better than any of the options that either Raikou or Entei actually have. Not saying it's bad, not for a second. I'm saying it's not ideal. But what about the Legendary Beast deck I just mentioned? What about having all three of them? What about a situation where I'm basically hitting 3 different weaknesses and I'm largely going water energy and off we go? Because here's the thing. Melanie does not attach water energy to your water Pokemon. It attaches a water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon V. Now, obviously, Melanie works better with Suicune in a mono water deck. No one's arguing she doesn't. But I am also telling you that Melanie will work with Raikou. And Melanie will work with Entei. Now, incidentally, Frostmoth will not, because that only attaches water to a benched water Pokemon. But Frostlass will, because you are attaching a water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, and then using Scoop Up Net to reuse it. So playing a largely water deck, but adding in just a couple of... I mean, honestly here, you're probably going Aurora energy, so that you can be any kind of energy. You could go basic fire or lightning, of course. And then being able to use this really nice attack, hitting for 3 weaknesses, with all of your Pokemon being able to draw cards. Yeah. I'm not loving the lack of good energy acceleration for Entei relative to Suicune. Although, to be fair, most of them do work. It's just awkward because you're not playing a mono water deck, and that does make a difference. And I'm not loving the retreat cost of 3, which doesn't give free retreat with Air Balloon. But does anyone out there not think that playing Ludicolo with all 3 of these legendary beasts could be fun? Because quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I do. I really, really do. Anyone that's wondering, it is unconfirmed, but it is overwhelmingly likely that this will be coming in Brilliant Stars. We've already had confirmation that Kingler VMAX is coming in Brilliant Stars, and although we haven't seen it, Aggron VMAX is coming in Brilliant Stars. Kingler is in the 100 start decks. Aggron has to be, because there isn't really anywhere else it could be at this stage. So that basically tells us that the new cards in the 100 start decks will be in Brilliant Stars. So although we don't have confirmation, expect Entei and, for what it's worth, Raikou to be in the 100 start decks. I think that is all but guaranteed. As a fun little side note, do note that Entei has a regulation mark of F, and Raikou has, I believe, a regulation mark of F. Suicune has a regulation mark of E. So actually, Entei and Raikou will last for a year longer than Suicune, and that's pretty gosh darn relevant. But moving away from lovely new Entei, we've got ourselves a lovely new product, which is coming out in Latin America very soon. Now, this was tweeted out by Lucas Tiosam over on Twitter. Apologies for the pronunciation. And if you look at it, it starts to look an awful lot like our Ultra Premium collection. And if we have a look at the back of the box, you can see there are so many packs. 18 packs of Celebrations and 18 regular packs of the Pokemon trading card game. It is very, very, very important to note that over in Latin America, regular packs come with 6 cards, rather than the 10 we're expecting over here. So do please bear that in mind. That is very important. So although it does look like they're getting extra packs, it's not really that simple. And the metal coin is there, just like we would expect. There are 3 cardboard boxes with which to store the cards. You get yourself the gold version of both Ultra Ball and Pikachu. And at this stage, you should start noticing that something is missing. Now, you could talk about the Charizard pin, which incidentally does seem to be missing here, but I'm guessing most of you aren't thinking about the Charizard pin being missing. I'm thinking most of you will probably notice those gold cards aren't there. And that's bad. I mean, I'm not saying that, Pokemon have messed up or anything silly like that. What I'm saying is, the number one reason to buy the Ultra Premium Collection, I mean that sincerely, the number one reason to buy it is for the metal cards. The best thing about it, the most exciting thing about it, the most valuable part of it, call it what you will, are the metal cards. And they're not in here. And this isn't the first time we've seen this. Because let's not forget that over in Japan, they have the 25th anniversary gold box. And if we remind ourselves about the contents of that gold box, you might remind yourself that actually they also don't get the metal cards. They get the gold cards. They also, for what it's worth, get like a playmat and dice and counters and sleeves and deck box that we don't get. But they get all of that, and they don't get the metal cards. And this product over in Latin America is not getting the metal cards. And actually, it really, really is starting to look like the only place to get those metal cards is actually in the Ultra Premium collection in English, which is going to be very disappointing if you live in another country. Now, at this stage, I suppose they could start announcing new products. I mean, this seems, as far as I can see, to only have been revealed this past week. But we are severely running out of time. And the fact of the matter is, if the metal cards were coming to Latin America, they'd be in this product. If the metal cards were coming to Japan, they would be in that golden box. It really does seem like they are Ultra Premium Collection only, which means as time goes by and Celebrations gets more and more in the rearview mirror, this is going to be a much, much more sought-after pair of cards, and things could start getting a little bit silly in the future as these get further and further away and harder to actually get hold of. It's an interesting thought anyway. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know if this is the kind of product you would pick up, even though it doesn't have the metal cards. I want to know what you think about the metal cards. I want to know if you think Entei is amazing. I want to know basically anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching a croakier than normal PTCG Radio.